konnichiwa, shutags, watashi wa erikim desu, alright? The thoughts. So, individual economics. So this is a thought that's very interesting to me because when it comes to life, we think a lot about like macroeconomics, like world economics, and to me this is kind of a waste of time because let's say you do understand the workings of this global financial scheme, whatever, but ultimately at the end of the day it's more of like, how can we personally integrate our own personal life values into this thing? Because it's one thing to just care so much about the world, but certainly it actually seems much more productive and interesting to just focus on yourself and how to best manage your household economics. So I was poking around, and the general gist is Aristotle had a book called On Economics, and it might have not been Aristotle, it might have been a student, but anyways, we attribute to Aristotle, and it's called Oeconomia, and Oikos in ancient Greek means household. So economics, the origin, actually pertains to how the household expenses are managed and financed and stuff like that. So, Aristotle writes a little bit on this, and Hesiod, like, Days and Works, or, his other writings and stuff like that. The general gist was you get an oxen to till your land, you get like some sort of unwed women lady to take care of your house. I'm unsure if they're actually a servant or slave. And you get the cattle to do the land and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just kind of like a simple lifestyle where I think it tends to promote. How you doing? Getting the mail? You enjoying the sunshine? I love your house. I like the burgundy door. Yeah. I figured the more we could walk around, get sunshine, the better. Isn't that perfect? Are you gonna have a barbecue or what? Okay, well the thing is, if it was always like this, we never appreciate it. Yeah, you should definitely have a barbecue in the backyard. Perfect barbecue weather. Have a nice day. Yeah, so anyways, so when it comes to just like, think about economics, it's one thing to just like talk about economics in the abstract, and I'm kind of more interested, like, how do we deal with our household finances? So the thought, maybe adopting a more poor lifestyle is actually a better lifestyle, because I think most people, what they really want, they don't want to work for nobody else. Like, and then the word work is tricky because people like to do stuff and expend effort, but I think when people think of work, they think of their toilsome and hateful 9-to-5 job. So no one, I've never met nobody who's actually enjoyed their 9-to-5 job, right? And so I think what they really want is they just kind of want control, autonomy, and self-directed facility over their life, their lifestyle. They don't really care to be quadrillionaires and billionaires and stuff like that. Like, even people who want to build a unicorn and sell it for $1 billion or have a couple of $1 million in the bank, I think what people really want is they just want a life free of care. Like the idea that you could pay your rent and feed yourself, and it was so funny because like back pre-COVID days it was like, oh, I want to travel the world and stuff like that, but like fucking you can't even travel no more because like ain't nobody got less Americans in. So I think it's actually better thought to assume that you could never travel ever again. And if that were the case, how can you best adapt your life and your lifestyle to maximally derive the greatest joy? So some thoughts. Going out and walking around, getting some sunshine, probably one of the greatest joys in my personal life. As long as you have coffee, access to Wi-Fi, you should be pretty good. So it seems like the simple things is just kind of using your life as an opportunity to think and explore and stuff like that, and not to care too much about the crazy details of your life and stuff like that, but treating your life as a chance to just kind of like really think, meditate, and explore and stuff like that. And not caring so much about, you know, other people's judgments of you and stuff like that. And to me, it's such a fun way to live life because it kind of affords you the chance to think about like how to adopt a more ascetic, ASCETIC lifestyle where you don't have to really worry about, you know, finances. And I think what we really want is freedom from financial care. Once again, no one really cares to be a quadrillionaire. And actually the easiest way to retire or don't not worry about money and stuff like that is to prefer kind of a cheap or a ghetto lifestyle or a poor person lifestyle. And so simple things, right? Like I only eat industrial meat. this is my new joke. People are like, oh, what food allergies or restrictions do you have? I just be like, I'm not allowed to eat non-industrial meat, or I'm not allowed to eat organic or non-GMO foods and stuff like that. so yeah, essentially my point is like, you know, there's this Chinese economist, his name is Henry C.K. Liu or something. And I think he brought this notion, I've been reading a lot of his writings on his personal website, really good stuff. And there's this general gist or notion of hedonic inflation. So what is hedonic inflation? Hedonic inflation is, the general gist is, our wages are stagnant, yet our expectations are higher. And so even like back in the day, you know, you just go to the grocery store and just got coffee, you just got the Folgers or whatever bullshit they had, right? And, you know, or you went to the gas station to get coffee, it was like, you know, 99 cents a cup, right? And now we get like our, you know, virtue signaling single origin espresso from, you know, Tanzania or Ethiopia or whatever, and pay like out the nose out of it. So the problem is our expectations are going insanely higher, and now you go buy $220 sneakers, you go buy $1,000 smartphone, whatever it may be. And so I think actually it's people's love of having uber expensive things and fancier stuff, which is actually kind of the culprit, which kind of is a snare. It prevents us from living our own personal life to the fullest. And my thought is the best life is kind of a combination of being an artist, being a thinker, a philosopher, a friend, a lover, a parent, whatever you want to be. And so once again, for me, as long as I have coffee, access to Wi-Fi, and a laptop, I'm pretty good. And so even like spending some time currently out in Westerly, Rhode Island, which is kind of like, it's so funny to me. To me, it looks like the countryside, but apparently people here is like, no, it's just like a town, I guess. And it's just nice to see get more fresh air, to see more blue skies. And I'm like, you know, I love the city and I try to go to the city as much as I can, but I wonder if actually the ideal life is where you kind of barbell it is. You know, you live out in the countryside or countryside, less in a more rural area or a small town, whatever, and every once in a while drive into the city and kind of enjoy the things there. And so it seems like a better life strategy, because if you live in a place for super cheap outside in a more rural area, your cost of living is way cheaper, and therefore you could either retire, you don't have to work no more or whatever, and then you could just spend the rest of your time just thinking, writing, working on creative pursuits which you're personally passionate about. And you know, if you're feeling you want the thrill of the city, then just jump in your car and go into the city. And yeah, nowadays the way it looks like with COVID, I wonder if actually this desire to travel has kind of been the snare. It's almost like our millennial degeneracy 2.0. And I'm even starting to think like this whole romantic notion of like going to Paris and doing Parisian things might not be a good thing, because it just kind of, it shackles people, and it's kind of like, the tant is like Tantalus, right? You know, the pull of the Tantalus is, you know, he reaches out to grab the water but is dying of thirst the whole time. So I'm almost wondering if the whole tantalizing thing is, you know, this allure of travel is kind of bad. And then, you know, obviously I traveled the world and I loved every minute of it and it was fantastic, but now that I've kind of done it, I could perhaps be more critical towards this line of thinking. But anyways, so I just really just encourage you to think, if I can never travel again, how can I live a happy, meaningful, creatively productive life? And the best economics is probably the individual economics for yourself, your own family, and your own household.